Imagine, for a moment, an old traveler walking through a dense ancient forest. It is high noon, the heat is oppressive, and he carries a heavy clay jug strapped to his back. His throat is parched. He hears the sound of rushing water and falls to his knees beside a turbulent stream. In his desperation to drink, he plunges the jug into the water. But his sudden, frantic movement stirs up the silt from the riverbed. He lifts the vessel to his lips, but the water is brown, gritty, and utterly undrinkable. Frustrated, he plunges his hands into the jug, trying to push the dirt down, trying to force the mud to settle. But the more he interferes, the more he churns the water. The vortex of mud only spins faster. He is thirsty. He is exhausted. And his own effort is the very thing denying him relief. An elder, who had been sitting quietly in the shade of a nearby cedar, watches this struggle. He walks over, places a weathered hand on the traveler's shaking shoulder, and whispers two words: "Let it be." They sit together in the moss. They do nothing. They say nothing. They simply witness. 10 minutes pass. Then 20. Slowly, the laws of nature take over. Gravity, subtle and undeniable, begins to pull the heavy particles of Earth downward. The mud settles to the bottom, leaving the water above crystal clear. The traveler finally drinks. It is cool, pure, and life-giving. This story is not about water. It is about the frenetic state of our modern minds. We have been conditioned to believe that to fix a problem, we must do something. We must analyze, dissect, worry, and plan. We treat our anxiety like that muddy water. We stick our hands in it, trying to rearrange the chaos, trying to force clarity through sheer intellectual effort. But the mind does not work that way. The more you stir the mind with thinking, the murkier it becomes. Clarity is never achieved by force. It is the natural byproduct of stillness. And yet, stillness is exactly what we fear most. Look at us. We are living in the era of constant stirring. Connect this traveler's thirst to your own life. Think of the bedtime paradox. You are exhausted. Your body is heavy, but the moment the lights go out, the internal lights turn on. Your brain begins a forensic audit of the past 10 years and a catastrophic prediction of the next 10. This is not thinking. This is churning. Society has sold us a dangerous lie, that an empty mind is a wasted mind. We are taught to be information hoarders, treating our brains like storage units rather than processing centers. We are terrified that if we stop processing data for even a moment, we will fall behind into the abyss of irrelevance. But today, we are not here to learn more. We are here to practice the difficult art of unlearning. We are here to stop stirring the water, so that we may finally drink. To understand why we are so anxious, we must first look at the vessel itself. There is a famous story in the Zen tradition, rooted in Taoist thought, about a university professor who visited a Japanese master to inquire about Zen. The professor sat down and immediately began talking about his degrees, his theories, his opinions, and his extensive knowledge. The master listened quietly and began to pour tea into the professor's cup. He poured until the cup was full, and then he kept pouring. The tea rose over the rim, spilled onto the saucer, and began dripping onto the professor's refined robes. The professor watched the overflow until he could no longer restrain himself. "Stop. The cup is overfull. No more will go in." The master set the teapot down gently. "Like this cup," he said, "you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you the truth unless you first empty your cup?" We smile at this story, yet we fail to see that we are the professor. Our minds are in a state of permanent overflow. We suffer from the illusion of fullness. We believe that to solve our anxiety, we need to add a new strategy, read a new book, or download a new meditation app. But you cannot add tea to a cup that is already full. When the mind is packed wall to wall with the noise of the news cycle, the grudges of yesterday, and the schedule of tomorrow, there is literally no vacancy for peace to enter. Lao Tzu, the old master, gave us a diagnosis for this over 2,000 years ago. He wrote, "To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day." This is the fundamental difference between being smart and being free. We are obsessed with accumulation. We collect facts like trophies. But wisdom is a process of elimination. It is not about what you pick up. It is about what you are brave enough to put down. Consider the weight you are carrying right now. Imagine your thoughts are not invisible, but physical objects. Every regret is a stone. Every worry about your career is a brick. Every argument you rehearse in the shower is a bag of sand. Now, imagine trying to swim across a lake while wearing a backpack filled with these items. You are kicking, gasping, struggling to stay afloat. You scream, "Swimming is so hard. Life is so difficult." But the water is not fighting you. The gravity is not fighting you. It is the backpack. The Taoist sage Zhuangzi spoke of the empty boat, the idea that if a man crosses a river and an empty boat collides with his own, he will not be angry. But if there is a person in that boat, he will shout and curse. The collision is the same, but the presence of the self, the heavy ego, creates the conflict. We are weighed down by our attachment to being right, to being respected, to being safe. We are sinking under the weight of our own identities. And yet, when offered the chance to take the backpack off, we hesitate. Why? Because we have a deep, primal fear of the void. Have you noticed what happens when you have 3 minutes of silence in an elevator? Or when the internet cuts out? The hand reaches for the phone by reflex. We are terrified of the silence because we have equated thinking with existing. We fear that if the noise stops, we might cease to be. We fill the fecund silence with digital noise because the alternative, sitting alone with our own souls, feels like staring into an abyss. But it is only in that abyss, in that empty space, that the new can be born. If we manage to empty the cup, what do we do then? Do we become passive? Do we sit on the couch and let life decay around us? This is the most common misunderstanding of Taoism. The goal is not laziness. The goal is Wu Wei. Wu Wei is often translated as non-action, but a better translation is effortless action, or action without friction. It is the difference between forcing a door open and finding the key. Think of a professional athlete or a musician at the height of their skill. When a basketball player is in the zone, are they thinking about the mechanics of their elbow? Are they analyzing the trajectory of the ball? No. If they start thinking, they miss the shot. They are moving with a speed and precision that thinking cannot keep up with. They are doing, but there is no doer. The action is happening through them. That is Wu Wei. Now, contrast this with your average Tuesday. You have a difficult email to write. You write it, delete it, rewrite it, worry about how it will be received, stress about the font, and procrastinate for 3 hours. You are expending an enormous amount of energy, but achieving very little movement. You are the traveler stirring the muddy water. You are trying too hard. The ancient masters looked to nature to explain this. They saw that nature never hurries, yet nothing is left undone. The river does not try to reach the ocean. It simply surrenders to gravity, and inevitably, it arrives. When we practice Wu Wei, we stop swimming upstream. This is difficult for us because we are addicted to resistance. When a problem arises, a bill we didn't expect, a conflict with a partner, our first mental reaction is usually a scream of refusal. This shouldn't be happening. We spend days arguing with reality. This resistance is the root of our mental exhaustion. The event itself costs us 10% of our energy. Our resistance to the event costs us the other 90%. Wu Wei is the radical acceptance of the present moment. It is saying, the bill is here. The conflict is here. The current is moving this way. I will swim with it, not against it. There is a profound story from Zhuangzi about a butcher named Ding. He had used the same knife for 19 years to carve thousands of oxen. Yet the blade was as sharp as if it were fresh from the grindstone. When the king asked him his secret, Ding explained that he did not hack at the bone. He felt for the spaces between the joints, the empty gaps, and he moved the blade there. Because the knife never struck the hard bone, it never dulled. We are not like Butcher Ding. We hack at the bones of life. We rehearse conversations before they happen, scripting our lines, trying to control the outcome of a social interaction. This makes us rigid, awkward, and anxious. We dull our spirits by crashing against the solid walls of reality. If we could trust our intuition, if we could enter a conversation without a script, we would find the gaps. We would find that the right words come not from anxiety, but from resonance. To reach this state, we must learn to fast the mind. Not a dietary fast, but a mental one. This means deliberately doing nothing. And I do not mean meditating to become enlightened. That is just another form of striving. I mean sitting in a chair, looking out the window at a swaying tree, and allowing the machinery of the mind to cool down. It is in these moments of useless time that the soul repairs itself. We must cultivate a silence so subtle, so deep, that the muddy water finally has permission to clear. If we stop fighting the current, we eventually drift back to our origins. In Taoism, this original state is called Pu, the uncarved block. Imagine a rough, natural piece of wood found on the forest floor. It has no specific shape. It is not a bowl. It is not a statue. It is not a spoon. Because it is undefined, it holds infinite potential. It can become anything. It is simple, honest, and complete in itself. Now, compare that block of wood to a carved, intricate statue. The statue has a defined value, a specific name, and a rigid form. Once it is carved, it cannot be anything else. We are born as the uncarved block. Look at the eyes of a toddler. They are wide, absorbent, and utterly without judgment. A child does not worry about their personal brand. They do not ruminate on whether they are successful or attractive. They simply exist in a state of pure Pu. They are whole. But as we age, society begins to carve us. The knife of expectation cuts away our potential. We are told to be the smart one, the athlete, the provider, or the rebel. We spend decades polishing these carvings, defending these labels. Much of our overthinking comes from the desperate need to protect the statue we have built. We think, if I lose this job, who am I? Or if I am not in a relationship, I am nothing. We have confused our roles with our souls. We are exhausted because maintaining a complex artificial persona requires a tremendous amount of energy. The statue is heavy. The block is light. Lao Tzu urged us to return to the state of the uncarved block. This does not mean we must abandon our responsibilities or live in a cave. It means stripping away the unnecessary complexity that traps us. We live in a time where complexity is sold as luxury. We think that having 50 options for breakfast cereal is freedom, but it is actually a cognitive burden. The paradox of choice paralyzes us. We clutter our lives with gadgets that need charging, apps that need updating, and relationships that exist only for appearance. We have built a machine of life so complex that it is constantly breaking down, and we spend all our mental energy trying to fix it. To return to simplicity is to embrace the power of subtraction. It is the courage to say, "I do not need this." It is the freedom found in Chapter 80 of the Tao Te Ching, where the Master finds joy in simple food and plain clothes, finding the universe within his own village. But the most powerful tool for returning to the uncarved block is a phrase we are terrified to use. I don't know. In our hyper-connected world, we feel a crushing pressure to have an opinion on everything. We feel we must have a stance on the geopolitical crisis, the latest celebrity scandal, and the economic forecast. We carry the weight of the entire world's problems on our shoulders, believing that our worry somehow contributes to a solution. It does not. It only fractures our peace. Certainty is a prison. It closes the mind. Uncertainty is freedom. It opens the door to the mystery. When we admit, "I don't know," we stop the churning. We put down the chisel. We stop carving ourselves and the world. And we allow the mystery of life to just be. Once we simplify our identity, we must address the noise inside. There is a profound dialogue in the writings of Zhuangzi where a disciple named Yan Hui tells Confucius that he is going to try to fix a corrupt political situation. Confucius warns him that he will fail because his mind is too full of strategies and arrogance. He prescribes a radical cure, the fasting of the heart. Yan Hui asks, "Is this like a vegetarian diet?" Confucius replies, "No. You must stop listening with your ears and listen with your mind. Then, stop listening with your mind and listen with your spirit, your qi." We need this fasting desperately. We are intellectually obese. We gorge ourselves on data from the moment we wake until our eyes close. We consume podcasts, news feeds, text messages, and videos in a gluttonous binge that never ends. We treat our minds like a landfill, dumping thousands of images and words into it every single day. And then we wonder why we are anxious. We wonder why we cannot sleep. We are suffering from spiritual indigestion. You cannot fast the heart while you are feasting on the noise of the world. Think about how we listen in conversation. We rarely listen with the spirit. We listen with the intellect. While the other person is speaking, we are not receiving their words. We are reloading our own. We are drafting our rebuttal, judging their grammar, or scanning for a way to turn the topic back to ourselves. The inner roommates are too loud. Have you ever noticed that you are never alone in your head? There is a committee in there. There is the voice of a critical parent, the voice of a demanding boss, the voice of a judgmental society. They are all arguing over how you should live. When you try to sit in silence, they start their meeting. The fasting of the heart is the process of evicting these roommates. It is the practice of closing the doors of the senses. We must implement a form of input deprivation. This is a biological necessity. If you eat food for 16 hours a day, your body will get sick. If you consume information for 16 hours a day, your mind will get sick. It is inevitable. We must create periods of the day where we are unreachable, where the screen is dark, where the input is zero. In this vacuum, the mud we spoke of earlier finally has a chance to settle. But what happens when we stop the noise? Often, suppressed emotions rise to the surface. We feel a sudden wave of sadness or a flash of anger. Our instinct is to push it back down, to distract ourselves immediately. But the Taoist view of emotion is like the wind. The wind rises, it blows furiously, and then it dies down. It does not cling to the sky, it does not store itself for later. It flows. We, however, build dams. We trap the anger, we analyze the sadness, we hold on to the grief. We turn a weather event into a climate. Overthinking is often just an emotion that has been denied its natural release. We analyze the feeling because we are afraid to feel it. To fast the heart is to let the wind blow. If there is grief, let there be grief. Do not narrate it. Do not explain why it is unfair. Just feel the physical sensation of it in the chest. Let it pass through you like a storm moving across a valley. When you stop blocking the flow with your thoughts, the emotion ventilates. It leaves you cleansed, hollow, and ready to receive the present moment. This is the only detox that matters. In the West, we have a troubled relationship with the concept of emptiness. To us, empty means lack. It means loneliness, poverty, and uselessness. We say, "I feel empty," as a complaint. But in the Tao, emptiness is not a negative state. It is the very source of utility. It is the womb of all creation. Lao Tzu challenges our perception with a simple mechanical observation in the Tao Te Ching. He points to a wheel. 30 spokes converge at the wheel's hub. But it is the hole in the center, the empty space, that allows the axle to enter. It is the nothingness in the middle that makes the wheel turn. If the hub were solid, the wheel would be useless. It is the void that carries the cart. Apply this to your own intellect. A mind that is solid with thoughts, solid with plans, and solid with worries is like a wheel without a hub. It is seized. It cannot turn. It cannot move forward. We have all experienced this. When are you most brilliant? When do the solutions to your most complex problems arrive? They rarely come when you are grinding your teeth at your desk, forcing the gears to turn. They come when you are in the shower, or driving on a quiet road, or washing the dishes. They come when you are empty. The solution needs a vacuum to enter. By constantly keeping the mind full, we inadvertently block the very wisdom we are searching for. Lao Tzu extends this metaphor to a house. We mold clay to make a vessel, but it is the emptiness inside that holds the water. We cut doors and windows for a room, but it is the empty space inside where we actually live. You pay for the walls, but you live in the void. Look at your calendar. It is likely a series of walls. Meeting after meeting, task after task, brick after brick. We are so proud of our busy schedules, thinking that a full day is a productive day. But if there is no space between the events, there is no life happening, only logistics. We need to reclaim the empty room. We need the white space on the calendar not as a luxury, but as the very place where our soul breathes. This emptiness is also the prerequisite for love. To truly connect with another human being, you must become an empty vessel. If you sit with a friend or a partner, and your mind is full of your own agenda, you are not really there. You are just a physical shape occupying a chair. Compassion is an act of osmosis. You must be empty enough to let their reality pour into you. You cannot hold someone's pain if your hands are already full of your own. Zhuangzi described the ideal state of the mind as a mirror. A mirror reflects everything that stands before it. The beautiful, the ugly, the red, the blue. It perceives every detail perfectly. But, and this is the key, when the object moves away, the mirror does not hold on to the image. It becomes empty again, ready for the next moment. Our minds are sticky mirrors. We hold on to the reflection long after the object is gone. Someone insults us in the morning, the object, and at night, we are still reflecting the insult. The event is over, but the reflection remains, distorting everything else we see. To have a mirror mind is to trust that you can handle the present moment without hoarding the ghosts of the past. It is the profound utility of letting go. And finally, we arrive at the root of the anxiety. Why do we hoard thoughts? Why do we stir the water? Why do we fear the void? Because we do not trust the universe. We believe that if we let go of the steering wheel, the car will crash. We live under the crushing illusion that we are the sole architects of our safety. But look at the natural world. Look at a tree. It does not stress about the winter. It does not hold meetings about how to grow its leaves in the spring. It does not hurry. As the old master said, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. We are the only creatures on earth that suffer from timeline anxiety. We constantly feel we are behind. Behind whom? Behind what schedule? This is a fiction of the mind. You cannot be late for your own life. You are exactly where the sum of your actions and the flow of the universe has placed you. The flower that blooms in late autumn is not worse than the flower that blooms in early spring. It is simply following its own Tao, its own way. The cure for overthinking is a radical surrender of control. And this is terrifying to the ego. The ego screams, "If I don't worry about the future, who will?" But the Taoist asks, who is beating your heart right now? Who is spinning the planet? Who is digesting your food? You are not doing any of that. A vast, intelligent, ancient power is maintaining your existence every second. If you can trust this power to keep your heart beating without your supervision, surely you can trust it to guide your life. We must become like water. In the Tao Te Ching, water is the supreme metaphor for strength. It is soft. It yields. It flows into the lowest places that humans despise. But because it yields, it cannot be broken. Try to strike the water with a sword. You cannot hurt it. It flows around the obstacle. When we overthink, we are being like rock. We are rigid. We have a hard idea of how our life must go. I must get this job. She must love me. This must not happen. And because we are rigid, life shatters us. We crack under the pressure. To be water is to say, the path is blocked here. I will flow there. It is not defeat. It is a strategy of survival. Softness overcomes hardness. The flexible branch survives the snowstorm. The rigid branch snaps. Ultimately, we must anchor ourselves in the great return. We are waves in a cosmic ocean. For a brief moment, we rise up as a distinct wave, we catch the light, we have a name, we have a form, and then we crash back into the ocean. The wave does not die, it just returns to the water. All your anxieties, your status, your fears, they are just the foam on the crest of the wave. They are impermanent. This is not a nihilistic thought. It is the most liberating thought a human can have. It takes the weight of the world off your small shoulders. In 100 years, nobody will remember your embarrassing moment. Nobody will remember your bank account. This problem that is keeping you awake at night? Viewed from the distance of the stars, it is dust. When you realize the smallness of your drama, you become free to play your part in the great comedy of life. without the paralyzing fear of getting it wrong. We have walked a long path together. We have looked into the cup. We have put down the backpack. And we have learned to trust the flow of the river. Remember, emptying the mind is not about becoming empty in the sense of being hollow or unfeeling. It is about cleaning the windshield so you can finally drive the car. It is about removing the static so you can hear the music. It is about becoming a conduit for life rather than a blockage to it. Let us return one last time to the traveler in the forest. He has been sitting by the stream for an hour now. He looks down at his jug. The mud has settled completely to the bottom. The water above is perfectly clear. It is so still that it acts as a perfect mirror, reflecting the high branches of the cedar trees and the passing clouds of the sky. The heavens are now contained within his earthen vessel. He drinks, and for the first time in a long time, his thirst is quenched. This clarity awaits you. It is not found in the next click, or the next comment, or the next dopamine hit. It is found in the pause. So, I will ask you a favor. Do not click on the next video. Do not scroll down to the comments to write your opinion. Instead, when the screen goes black in a few seconds, I want you to close your eyes. Give yourself exactly 60 seconds of silence. Just sit. Watch the mud settle. Feel the gravity of your own being. You have done enough. You have thought enough. Now, just let it be.